Hey there, everybody. Robert Taylor with Wonderscape Creations, doing another video for the Biomes generator portion of my world building toolkit. And we are going to be going over the foundational start of the Mega Assemblies asset that I will be having prepared and made for everybody to utilize. So if I go ahead and I select this so that you can see that it created a blueprint based off of what I wanted. And as I stated in the previous video, they all look different. Different amount of trees, different amount of shrubs, different amount of rocks, different amount of everything. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the blueprint, which you can find in Wonderscape Creations PCG Blueprints Biomes. I have two, the projected mega assemblies and the Landscape Patch Mega Assemblies. Now, the Landscape Patch Mega Assembly is a child of the projected. So I'll actually open up the projected because everything that's in projected, I'll actually open up the landscape one. So everything that is in the landscape is in projected. Just the landscape one has more. So let's go ahead and widen this up quite a bit. What we have here is the blueprint. Obviously, we have PCG. The This thing generates on demand, so as soon as the blueprint is placed, it generates everything that is within the graph. And if we just go here to the bounds, and I come on down here, you'll see that we have two sections. We have Wonderscape, Landscape Patch, and PCG. Now, additionally, there is a Generate Landscape button right here. It is callable in Editor and will allow you to set up everything that is necessary for the landscape patch for those utilizing the landscape patch version. Now, before I continue on, it is very important to note that I do not recommend using the landscape patch version yet, as it needs to know which landscape is the correct landscape. And if you only have one, then it should work without an issue. Keyword should. But if you have multiple, then you would need to change it, which if you wanted to, you could go case by case and change them. But I'm trying to automate that. So use that portion at your own risk. However, the projected one works without issue. So if we go ahead and we take a look at everything we have here within the patch, we'll start with what's in both of them. You have the graph, and then you have the mega assembly asset. Now this graph is here. This one I have named Wonderscape Assemblies Core. Open it up. There's not much in here yet. There will be more in the future. I will be adding a whole bunch more options that can be utilized. This is just the first step. So let's go ahead and close that back up. The next thing to note, as stated, is that there is a mega assembly asset. It is a completely and totally different data asset, and we'll go over that in the next episode. You then have instant ratio control, instant ratio seed control, and then the location offset. Now, the importance of these is mostly for hand placements. That way, when you place something by hand and it shares the data with the mega assembly asset that is being populated by PCG, then if you want to, since I have this one attached, I can come down here. Once I find it, it's never in the same place. There we go. And I'm going to change the ratio control to 0.1. Now, it was hard to see, but right here, if I change this back to 0, that went away. Now, if I go negative 0.2, a bunch of stuff went away, and that's okay. So this gives control over one single instance, and that is just there for the benefit of everybody. Now, with Landscape Patch, as I've stated, You have the height map texture, which I'm using the no biomes because it's black, so it'll keep everything flat. And then the patch location, so not the location of the whole blueprint as a whole, but the patch component. It'll move that for you. Then the patch size, if I come over here to the viewport and I select patch size, not patch size, I select this, you'll see right now, there's the patch size. That is how big it currently is. So that is information that is important to note. That the patch size adjusts this red border. Now, if I come back up here, the fall off, this controls the blend between the patch and the landscape. That way, you don't have this ridiculous looking straight line. And then the height. So, if you do use a texture to give it some noise underneath of it, height will control, you know, how much higher the landscape gets in certain parts, depending on where it's white and gray. Then invert will reverse it, so everything white and gray will be lower, and everything black will be higher. So that's the information that's extremely important. And as I've said, I'll go ahead and place one in the world so you can see it. Move this aside. Place this in here. First time you place it, if you've never had a layer before, it's going to say it needs to create one. You'll hit accept. And if we come over here, there we go. But you'll notice it's not showing up in here. And that happens sometimes with the patch when you add the patch layer. So just delete that. Now when we put it in, there we go. Now it's actually showing up here. There's a generate landscape button. So if I come over here, I choose this landscape. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. So if I change the fall off to 800 and then hit generate landscape, there we go. So that is exactly how this works. And that's important to note. And if you add something here, you know what? We have them, so let's go ahead and I'll type in noise. We'll just be crazy and utilize this one. Hope I did. Yep, I did choose the 8K version. That's funny. 2K. We definitely don't need 8K. We won't see too much of a difference here to generate. Now it's no longer perfectly flat. So if I go with 500, then hit generate again, now you can clearly see the difference. 150. So that's how it works. That's the importance of understanding this tool, and why everything is important to understand. Yeah. Don't know where I was going with that information. So in the next episode, we will go over the new data asset that I've created that makes the mega assemblies work.